Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of Season 4, Episode 13 of Lucha Underground called The Circle of Life. And I gotta say, this was a pretty decent episode of Lucha Underground this week. And of course, we only had 3 matches on this episode, like always. So let's get started with the review. And of course, every episode of Lucha Underground opens with a video package of, past stuff that happened in previous episodes. Then after the video package was over, we go to a room where Katrina is in. She ends up informing Mil Muertes that she is pretty much basically done with him. And she ends up giving Muertes a gift, which we don't know, what it is. It's like wrapped up. And Melissa Santos ends up showing up. And we see both Katrina and Melissa battle it out. They end up fighting in I think it was like a warehouse. And we saw Melissa end up throwing Katrina into a window, which was really crazy. I mean, I gotta say, the fight between Katrina and Melissa, it wasn't a bad fight. It was actually, kind of pretty entertaining. And it led to them brawling onto a fire escape. And they end up on a roof. And so Katrina ends up falling. She ends up holding on to the rail. And Mil Muertes ends up showing up and ends up returning this gift that Katrina gave to him. And so we then see Mil Muertes ends up letting go of Katrina. She ends up falling off the roof to, her possible death. And the way how she falls off the roof, it was pretty terrible. You could tell the effects of that weren't that great. It was like a low budget fight scene. Sorry about that, but I was saying, the way how Katrina ended up falling off the roof to, her possible death. You could tell that, it was green screen, and, the effects were pretty terrible. How the way, she fell back. I mean, it was a low budget fight scene. So what do you expect? So after Katrina falls off the roof, Melissa Santos walks up to her body, and Aerostar arrives, and he ends up saying he needed Melissa's help, and asked her for the half of the amulet. And so we have a flashback that happened 10 weeks earlier, where we saw Katrina end up taking Phoenix's life force. And, we saw after Katrina left, Aerostar ended up showing up by time travel. And he ended up bringing Phoenix back to life, which was cool. Which was cool to see. And, after that, after Aerostar brings Phoenix back to life, he ends up Aerostar ends up time traveling back to the present day with Phoenix. So he ends up taking Phoenix along, to the present day. And we see Melissa begins to hug Phoenix. And Aerostar informs Melissa that, it will take him a while to be, back to normal. Considering Aerostar ended up bringing him back to life. And we see the scene ends with Phoenix's eye shape-shifting, which was kind of cool. And so that ended the scene to open the episode with. And the scene was pretty enjoyable. By the time this scene was over, it was already like 10 after 8. I would have to say. And then the first match didn't get underway until like 15 minutes, into the show. The first match, by the time the show came back from commercial, was already 8:15. So yeah, like I said, it was a good opening to the episode. I'm really happy that it showed Aerostar going back in time and bringing Phoenix back to life, and the fight scene between Katrina and Melissa Santos, though it was very enjoyable. So yeah, so then we have the first match. It was Joey Wrestling, aka Joey Mercury, and he was inside the ring. Antonio Cueto ends up coming out, which we all know, when you see Antonio Cueto come out and you have one of the other wrestlers in the ring, he's going to bring out Matanza. So, with this whole sacrifice to the gods thing that they're doing. So Antonio Cueto comes out and he informs Joey that he will get a chance for revenge in his first Lucha Underground match. And he ends up announcing that Joey will be in a sacrifice to the gods match. And of course, Matanza ends up coming out. And the match itself, it was pretty much basically, a squash match. But first when the match starts, Matanza already gets the upper hand in the match. And Joey Wrestling ended up attempting, comebacks. He eventually hit a Death Valley driver on Matanza, which was cool. He ended up hitting Matanza with the pedigree, and after he hit Matanza with the pedigree, Matanza just got right up. I'm like, how did he get up from being pedigree like that? And so, in the end, Matanza won the match with the Wrath of the Gods finisher. So Matanza ends up sacrificing Joey Wrestling to the gods. So it was a squash match, but I liked the bit in the match where Joey ended up doing the pedigree and Matanza got right up from it. It was crazy. I'm like, how did he get up from being pedigreed? But the next match, it was Killshot versus Big Bad Steve. Of course, we haven't seen Big Bad Steve, for quite a few episodes. The last we saw Big Bad Steve was, he got his ankle broken by Jake Strong, aka Jack Swagger. And this was a decent match. It was an enjoyable match. We saw Son of Havoc. He ended up coming out during the match. He had like popcorn and a drink with him, and he sat, in the crowd. And basically that would cause Killshot to be, distracted for a little bit. And Killshot, was delivering strikes to Big Bad Steve. And, Big Bad Steve ended up countering, the strikes that Killshot was doing to him with a belly-to-back suplex. Then we had Son of Havoc. We saw Son of Havoc cheering on Big Bad Steve during the match. And the match ended with Killshot doing a top rope double stomp on Big Bad Steve for the win. And so Killshot ends up winning the match. Then we had, after the match, Killshot ended up confronting Son of Havoc. And we saw Killshot, knock the popcorn out of his hand. And it led to a brawl between him and Son of Havoc. And what was really crazy was Killshot, got back in the ring, and Son of Havoc unmasked Killshot, and that was really cool to see. And we saw, after that, Son of Havoc was celebrating, with Killshot's mask in his hand, and we just saw Killshot, run off to the back, covering his face. So that was pretty interesting, to see Son of Havoc pull off, Killshot's mask. So, and possibly, this is going to be leading to them having a match later on in the season. We'd really like to see, how that match is. It's going to be, an awesome match to see between the both of them. Who knows? Maybe it will happen at Ultima Lucha Cuatro. So, but yeah, that's just my guess. Then we had the main event. It was for the Lucha Underground Championship. Pentagon Dark was in the ring, and if you guys haven't checked out, I want to mention something. Pentagon Dark, he had a match this past weekend at the All In pay-per-view. He took on Kenny Omega, and that match was really awesome. It was a great match, very good match. If you guys haven't checked it out, check that match out. Definitely give it a watch. It's a really good match between the both of them. But Pentagon Dark got on the mic, and he talked about how he wanted to break Johnny Mundo's arm, and he said the doctors wouldn't let Mundo face him tonight. And Pentagon then made a open challenge to anyone in the back who wants to face him. And so the guy who wants to face Pentagon for the championship was Hernandez. And so we had the match, Pentagon Dark versus Hernandez for the Lucha Underground Championship. Very entertaining match. This was a really enjoyable match where Pentagon, when the match started, Pentagon Dark got the upper hand. He was doing runners and leg kicks. There are times where he was doing slaps, and chops, which were really loud. It was really crazy how many chop shots Hernandez got from Pentagon Dark. And the end of the match had Pentagon winning. He ended up hitting his finisher onto he ended up winning the match. Ended up hitting his finisher. So Pentagon ends up retaining the Lucha Underground Championship. And then after the match, we saw Pentagon trying to break Hernandez's arm, but unfortunately, King Cuerno ended up making the save. King Cuerno then attacked Pentagon. He ended up hitting his finisher. It looked like a tombstone. He ended up hitting that on Pentagon on the Lucha Underground Championship in the middle of the ring. So, and then the episode ended with King Cuerno, walking out. So, but all in all, the match, Pentagon versus Hernandez for the Lucha Underground Championship, it was a decent match. It was an enjoyable match, in my opinion. So, yeah, so then, later on, we're probably going to get Pentagon versus King Cuerno for the Lucha Underground Championship. That's, I predict, is possibly coming soon. So that's my prediction. So, yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's episode of Lucha Underground, which was Season 4, Episode 13, called The Circle of Life. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.